I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 5 years now. We seemed solid, or at least I thought we were. She's pretty much everything I ever wanted: beautiful, smart, successful in her career, and she always acted like she cared about me. We were planning a future together, talking about kids, buying a house, the usual stuff. Our last family vacation was supposed to be just that, vacation. It was a week up in the mountains, just us and my sister, Jenny. My sister's a bit of a troublemaker, always stirring the pot, but she's also fun and easy to be around. Lisa and Jenny had always been on decent terms, but I never thought anything would come of it beyond typical sisterly teasing. The trip started off great, honestly. We were hiking, swimming, eating too much junk food, and just relaxing. But then, little things started to bug me. Lisa was acting a bit weird, more distant than usual. She was often glued to her phone, texting someone, then quickly hiding it when I looked her way. I brushed it off at first, thinking maybe she was just making plans with work or texting a friend. But then, over the course of the week, I noticed her phone kept lighting up late at night, even when she was supposed to be asleep. She'd sneak off to the bathroom or go outside for a walk, which I now realize was just her trying to get privacy to text whoever. I saw the messages later in her notifications, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I told myself I was overthinking it, that maybe it was just a guy friend, or she was talking to Jenny about something. Things got even stranger when she started acting defensive whenever I asked her about her phone or her plans. She'd snap, say I was being paranoid, accuse me of not trusting her. That kind of attitude made me feel like I was losing my grip. I didn't want to be that guy, the jealous husband who's always suspicious, but part of me knew something wasn't right. Then one night, I came back from the bathroom and caught her texting again. She quickly shut her phone, but I saw the message preview, something about "can't wait to see you again" and a wink emoji. It hit me like a punch to the gut. That wasn't just a friendly message, that was more than that. I looked at her with shock, and she saw the look on my face. Her reaction was quick. She spun around, tried to laugh it off, saying I was just imagining things, that she was talking to Jenny about a guy she knew at work and I was reading too much into it. But I knew better. That wasn't Jenny's style, and there was no way she'd be texting some guy with that kind of flirting tone. I didn't say anything that night. I just bottled it up, but I couldn't shake the feeling. It was like this darkness crept inside me, making me doubt everything I thought I knew about her. I kept telling myself I'd confront her as soon as I got back home, but that night I just lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling sick. I was supposed to trust her, but it was slipping away fast. When we got back from the trip, I decided I couldn't ignore it anymore. I started digging through her phone when she was around, looking for evidence. That's when I found it. Hundreds of texts, flirty, suggestive, sometimes downright dirty. She was cheating. I mean, she was having sex with someone else, or at least she was trying to, judging by the messages. It wasn't just a fling, it was months of sneaking around, lying to my face while I was planning our future. And here's the kicker: she kept lying even when I confronted her. She denied everything at first, said I was crazy, that I was imagining things. But I was. I found pictures, messages, receipts. All of it proved she'd been screwing around with my sister's boyfriend, a guy named Jason, for months. She'd been texting him behind my back during our family vacation while I was completely blind to it. It was like she was living in a different world, one where she could lie to me and get away with it. Yeah, that's how it started. This whole mess, just a few days of discovery that completely turned my life upside down. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. I feel betrayed, angry, and honestly really hurt. I trusted her with everything, and she threw it all away for some guy she met while pretending to be my wife. That's where it all began, barely a week ago, and now everything's different. After I found out about the texts and the affair, everything else felt like a blur. I remember just sitting on the couch, staring at her phone in my hand, feeling my fists tighten. My mind was racing, trying to process what I'd just uncovered. How could Lisa do this? How could she lie so effortlessly? She looked me in the eyes for years and told me she loved me, and all along she was sneaking around with Jason behind my back. I didn't want to jump to conclusions without confrontation, but I knew. I knew she was guilty. The things I saw in the messages, tone, words, the pictures, there was no denying it. She was cheating, and not just a little bit. She crossed a line I never thought she'd cross. I felt a mixture of anger and heartbreak boiling inside me, but I also felt a deep sense of betrayal that cut so much deeper than I expected. When I finally confronted her, I was furious. I showed her the messages, the pictures, and I demanded an explanation, her reaction. She looked me dead in the eyes and lied. She said she didn't know what I was talking about, that she was innocent, that it was just some stupid misunderstanding, that Jason was just a coworker she was helping out. She kept spinning stories, trying to gaslight me, saying I was crazy or paranoid. She told me I was overreacting, that I was ruining everything, that she loved me and never meant for any of this to happen. Her voice was venomous and her words dripped with arrogance, like she was trying to make me doubt myself. But I wasn't buying it. I could see through her bullshit. I wasn't some naive fool anymore. I knew she'd been lying to me to my face for months. While I was working hard to plan our future, she was sneaking around, texting some guy, probably having sex with him. It made me feel sick just thinking about it. I told her she was a bitch, that I couldn't believe I married someone so dishonest, that I had trusted her with everything and she'd thrown it all in the trash. Her response: she called me jealous, insecure, said I was making a mountain out of a molehill, that I was overreacting because I didn't want to accept the truth. She started crying, trying to manipulate me into feeling sorry for her, like I was the villain here. That's when I realized she's a master manipulator. She's good at twisting things around, making herself look innocent. But I wasn't falling for that. I felt numb, like my world was collapsing. From that moment on, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the messages, the pictures. I felt this deep, gnawing pain in my chest. How could she do this? How could someone I loved and trusted turn into this liar and cheat? I kept asking myself if I had missed the signs, if I'd somehow failed her or the relationship. Part of me wanted to believe she just made a terrible mistake, but deep down, I knew it was more than that. She wanted Jason, she wanted to cheat on me, and she'd been doing it for months. I started questioning everything: her words, her actions, the promises she made. I felt so betrayed, like I was just some fool who got played. My mind kept circling back to the moment I found the texts. That's when everything changed. That's when I knew I had to decide what to do next. Do I fight for the marriage? Do I kick her out? Do I confront Jenny? All of it was swirling around me, and I felt like I was drowning in this mess. I didn't want to lose her, not without a fight, but part of me also wanted to end it right there. I told her I needed some time to myself, and I left the house that night. I went to stay with my friend Dan because I couldn't be there anymore. I couldn't look her in the eye or hear her lies. I felt broken, empty, and honestly furious. I kept replaying everything in my head, trying to find some reason, some justification, but there was none. Only pain and rage and the sick feeling that I'd been living a lie. Now, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what's next. I can't trust her anymore, not after all this. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her, or if I even want to. I never imagined I'd be the guy whose wife cheated with his sister's boyfriend while they were all supposed to be on a family vacation. It's like some messed up soap opera. And the worst part, I still love her. Despite everything, I still feel this weird hope she'll come clean, that somehow she'll choose me over Jason. But I'm not naive anymore. I know the truth now. And it's brutal. After a few days of staying away from the house, I knew I had to confront her again, but this time I wanted to get everything out in the open. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was normal, that we could just sweep this under the rug and move on. I needed answers, truthful answers, no more lies, no more bullshit. I decided to go back, to sit her down and really talk face to face without her spinning her usual stories. When I walked into the house that evening, she was sitting on the couch, looking defensive, her eyes avoiding mine. She knew I'd been digging. She knew I'd seen the messages. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. I felt my blood boil as I sat down opposite her. "Lisa," I said, voice low and steady, "I want the truth. No more lies. I want you to tell me everything from the beginning. How long has this been going on?" She hesitated, her lips trembling, but then she rolled her eyes and scoffed. "Oh, please, you really think I'm just going to spill my guts? You're not my therapist." I clenched my fists. You're damn right I'm not your therapist, I'm your husband, and I deserve to know what the hell is going on. Were you cheating on me with Jason during the trip? Were you lying to my face the whole time? Her eyes narrowed. You're so dramatic, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been faithful to you. You're just jealous. Jealous, I cut her off. You expect me to buy that after seeing the messages, after catching you hiding your phone late at night. You think I don't know what's been going on. She suddenly looked angry. You have no right to invade my privacy. I can text whoever I want. You're overreacting, I snapped. Overreacting? No, Lisa. I'm sick of your lies. I found out you've been texting Jason behind my back for months. During our family vacation, while I thought everything was perfect, you were sneaking around with him. How long have you been doing this? Her face twisted into a sneer. You're nothing but a jealous, insecure little man. I don't owe you explanations for what I do. Maybe if you paid more attention to me instead of spying, you wouldn't feel so threatened. That was the moment I saw the real Lisa, that bitchy, manipulative side that I never saw before. She was trying to turn this around on me, making me feel like I was the crazy one. But I knew the truth. I knew she'd been lying, cheating, and disrespecting me behind my back. The anger that had been simmering inside me exploded. You're disgusting, I said, voice shaking but controlled. You think you're so clever, hiding your little affair, pretending to be innocent, but I see through you. I saw the messages, Lisa. I saw the pictures of you and Jason. I saw how you talk about wanting to see him again. How can you even look me in the eye and lie like that? She stood up, her face flushed with rage. You don't know anything. You're just a stupid, naive fool. I don't owe you anything anymore. I've been unhappy anyway. Maybe I was just looking for something better, someone who treats me like I deserve. That cut me deep. Her words, so cold and callous, made me feel like I'd been punched in the gut. I'd always thought we had something real, something worth fighting for. But her words told me I was just a fool, holding onto something that was already gone. Suddenly, I felt a strange mix of heartbreak and rage. Heartbreak because she'd thrown everything away, and rage because she had the nerve to blame me, to make me feel like I was the one at fault. I told her she could leave if she wanted, that I didn't want to see her anymore. I told her I wanted nothing to do with her until she was honest, until she owned up to her betrayal. She just smirked and said she was done, that she'd be moving out soon. She was so bitchy, so dismissive, like she didn't care. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she never did. That night I slept on the couch trying to process everything. I couldn't get rid of the images, the texts, the pictures, her smug face when she lied, clogging my mind. I felt lost, betrayed, and disgusted all at once. I kept asking myself how I missed all of this, how I was so blind to the woman I thought I knew. I'd loved her so much, and now I was left with nothing but a pile of lies and broken trust. I've never felt so alone in my life. I thought I was building something real, something worth fighting for. Instead, I got nothing but a betrayal I can't shake. The worst part, I still love her, but I know I can't keep pretending that everything's okay. The damage is done, and I have to figure out what's next. Do I fight for her? Do I let go? All I know is I've never felt this hurt and angry at the same time. It's like my whole world just shattered in a matter of days. The days that followed were the hardest of my life. I kept replaying everything. Her lies, her sneers, the betrayal of the woman I once thought was my everything. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face twisted in anger, heard her dismissive words, and imagined Jason's stupid grin every time she texted him. I felt this burning rage inside me, like I wanted to tear her apart for what she'd done. I tried to keep it together, but it was getting harder. My friends kept telling me I should just cut her loose and move on, but I couldn't. There was this part of me that still wanted answers, some kind of closure. So I started digging deeper, searching her phone again, trying to find anything I might have missed. I was obsessed with the idea of exposing her, making her see how badly she'd screwed up. That's when I found the real proof, the messages that left no doubt. Conversations with Jason that went way beyond flirtation. They talked about meeting up, about sex, about their plans to keep sneaking around. There were even some explicit photos, which I won't describe here, but enough to make me want to vomit. They'd been doing this while I was planning our future, while I was working my ass off to make everything perfect. Seeing all this made me feel sick, but it also ignited something darker, this burning desire for revenge. I didn't want her to get away with it. I wanted her to feel what I felt. The betrayal, the humiliation, the utter loss of trust. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what. I couldn't just let this go. I wanted her to pay for what she did. I started thinking about how to turn this around. How could I make her regret it? I decided I'd play her game, be the one who exposes her, who ruins her reputation if I had to. I started gathering evidence, making copies of all the messages. I wanted to have everything ready, just in case I needed to confront her publicly or do something drastic. Meanwhile, she was still trying to act normal, like nothing had changed. She'd come over to the house, pack up her stuff, and pretend everything was fine. But I saw through her act. She was trying to guilt me, trying to make me feel like I was overreacting, like she was the innocent victim. She even threw in some fake tears, trying to manipulate me into feeling sorry for her. I couldn't believe how cold and calculating she was. I felt this mix of disgust and heartbreak every time she looked at me with those fake tears. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to tell her how much she'd hurt me, but I held back. I knew I had to be strategic. I couldn't let her see how much she'd broken me. Not yet. The hardest part was knowing that I still loved her despite everything. I kept asking myself, how did it get this far? How did someone I trusted so completely turn into this lying, cheating monster? I never thought she was capable of this. Maybe I was blind, maybe I ignored the signs, or maybe I just didn't want to see the truth. Now it was all out in the open and there was no going back. I decided I'd give her a final chance to come clean, but only on my terms. I wanted her to admit everything in front of me, fully and honestly, no bullshit. I wanted to see if she'd finally break and tell the truth, or if she'd keep lying and trying to manipulate her way out of it. I knew the answer, though. I'd seen enough to know she wasn't going to change. She was already a different person in my eyes. So I sat her down again, told her I wasn't playing her games anymore. I said I'd been patient, I'd been kind, but now I wanted truth. I told her she could either tell me everything or I'd leave and never look back. Her face twisted into a scowl. She looked furious, like I was the one betraying her now. She tried to deny it again, claiming I was just jealous and paranoid, but I wasn't buying it. I had the proof, everything. That's when she finally cracked. She looked down at her hands, her voice trembling. She admitted everything about Jason, about the texts, about how she'd been feeling trapped in our marriage and wanted something more. She said she was sorry, but I didn't believe her. Sorry didn't fix what she'd done. Sorry didn't erase the months of lying, the betrayal, or the fact that she'd been screwing my sister's boyfriend behind my back. In that moment, I realized I had a decision to make. Do I forgive her, try to save what's left of this mess, or do I cut my losses and walk away? My heart was screaming for the latter, but part of me still wanted to believe we could fix this. That maybe, just maybe, she'd actually be honest for once. But deep down, I knew the truth. Trust was gone, completely shattered. And no matter how much I loved her, I couldn't ignore what she'd done. Not anymore. I'd been played, used, and betrayed in the worst way. I felt broken, lost, and more alone than ever. The question was, what do I do now? The days after she finally confessed felt like living in some twisted nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, heard her voice trying to justify everything, and saw Jason's stupid grin. I kept replaying every detail, the late-night texts, the stolen moments, the way she lied to my face even when she knew I had the proof. The trust I once had was shattered into a million pieces, and I didn't see any way to put it back together. I knew I couldn't stay in that house anymore. Not with her there, not with her fake tears and manipulative smirk. I packed a bag and left that night, just needing to get away, clear my head. I stayed with Dan for a few days, but all I could think about was what she did. I kept asking myself if I had missed the signs, if I was blind to her true nature. For so long, I thought we had something real, something worth fighting for. Now I saw it was all a lie. While staying with Dan, I started thinking about my next move. I couldn't just walk away without making her pay somehow. I knew I had to do something to regain some sense of control, some way to make her feel the pain she caused me. I decided to go through her phone one more time, just to make sure I had everything. I needed to be certain I wasn't missing anything that could hurt her the way she hurt me. What I found was worse than I expected. I uncovered more than I thought was possible: screenshots of explicit conversations, plans for meeting up, even a detailed schedule of when she was supposed to see Jason next. The amount of betrayal was staggering. She'd been lying, sneaking around, cheating and planning her next move, all while pretending to be the devoted wife I thought I knew. It was almost too much to take in, but I knew what I had to do. I started gathering all this evidence, making copies of every message, every photo. I wanted to be prepared. I wanted her to see that I was serious, that I had all the proof I needed. I wasn't going to let her keep manipulating me, lying to my face, pretending everything was fine. I decided I'd confront her again, but this time, I'd do it in a way that would make her regret ever crossing me. Meanwhile, she kept trying to reach out, calling, texting, even showing up at Dan's place, begging me to come back, crying fake tears, acting like she still loved me. But I wasn't fooled anymore. I saw through her. I knew she was only trying to save her own ass, to manipulate me into forgiving her. I refused to fall for it. I told her I needed time, that I was done talking until she came clean fully. That's when she finally realized she wasn't going to get her way so easily anymore. One afternoon, I sat her down for what I knew was the final talk. I told her I had enough, that I knew everything about Jason, about her lies, her cheating. I told her I couldn't trust her anymore, that our marriage was over as far as I was concerned. I explained how hurt I was, how betrayed I felt, and that I was done pretending everything was okay. I told her she could leave, and that I never wanted to see her again unless she was honest and willing to take responsibility. Her reaction was typical. She got furious, calling me all sorts of names: jealous, insecure, crazy. She accused me of being obsessive, of trying to ruin her, and then she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. That moment, I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Relief because I finally took control, but emptiness because the woman I loved was gone, replaced by this stranger who looked at me with contempt. Now I'm alone, trying to figure out what's next. I don't want to be with someone who cheats and manipulates. I don't want to be with someone who disrespects me that way. But I also feel this deep ache, an ache for the woman I thought I knew, for the future I had envisioned, for the love that turned into betrayal. It's a lot to process, and honestly, I'm still angry. So much anger, and sadness, and confusion. I've learned a lot, though. I've learned that trust isn't something you should take for granted, that people can hide their true selves really well if they want to, and that sometimes love isn't enough to survive betrayal. I don't know if I'll ever fully recover from this, but I do know one thing: I won't let her destroy me. I have to rebuild myself from this. That's the only way I'll ever move on. It's been a few weeks since everything fell apart. I still wake up sometimes with that sinking feeling in my stomach, the one that refuses to go away. I see her face in my mind, hear her lies echoing in my head, and I wonder how I let it get so far. The sense of betrayal cuts deep, but I've come to realize something: I'm better off without her. That doesn't mean it hurts any less, but at least I know now that I deserve someone who's honest, loyal, and who actually respects me. I've been focusing on myself, going out more, reconnecting with friends, trying to rebuild some semblance of a normal life. I've also started therapy, which has helped me process everything better. It's not easy, and some days I feel like I'm back at square one, but I know I have to keep going. I can't let her betrayal define me forever. I've learned that I have to trust my instincts and never ignore the signs again. Looking back, I wish I'd seen the warning signs sooner. The little things, her secrecy, her defensiveness, were there, but I rationalized them away. I was blinded by love and hope. Now I see it clearly. No one should have to put up with that kind of deception. If someone is hiding things, if they're lying and sneaking around, they're not worth holding on to. I realize I wasted so much time trying to believe in something that was already broken. My biggest takeaway is this: don't ignore your gut. When something feels off, it probably is. Trust is sacred, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to repair. But I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I survived this, and I will come out of it better, more cautious, more aware, and more respectful of myself. I don't regret loving her, but I do regret not seeing the truth sooner. To anyone going through something similar, trust me, you're not alone. It hurts like hell, and it's okay to feel broken for a while. But don't let it consume you. Take the time you need to grieve, to heal, and then pick yourself up and move forward. You'll find happiness again, maybe in ways you never expected. And most importantly, remember that you deserve honesty and loyalty. Never settle for less.